Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today we're playing with some brand new makeup. I'm super excited about this. I picked up both of the new Dior primers. We have the Glow Veil Forever Dior primer, and then we have the Forever Velvet Veil primer. I kind of want to try them both today. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do the matte on one side of my face and the Glow Veil on the other side of my face, and we'll see what kind of difference we really see between the two. I also have some new products from NARS, which I'm super excited about. I got an eyeshadow palette, I got a blush quad, and then I've got some cream cheek products. I have this isn't a brand new release, but this is something that I picked up. It's the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder from Pat McGrath. I love this product. I've used this in the past, but I picked up the yellow shade today to use to set underneath the eyes with concealer. I was looking for a powder specifically to set underneath the eyes. It was very soft focus and brightening. So I'm gonna give this one a try. I picked up a new liner from Too Faced. I've actually had this a while, but I haven't used it. So yeah, we're just gonna play with some new makeup and get ready. I'm also going to apply some of the BK Beauty Reset as Makeup False Lashes so you guys can see those in action. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. I don't have what I do. I did my skincare this morning. I used my SK2 facial treatment essence, and then I put on the Sulwhasoo emulsion lotion as my moisturizer. I didn't put any SPF on today. I'm gonna be staying inside for most of the day, so I'm gonna skip it today. I know I usually don't do that, but for the purpose of using these primers and really being able to test them, I didn't want to put that on first and then put the primer on top of that. So let's go in with the Forever Velvet Veil. Each of these retail for $50, by the way, so they are not, you know, the most budget friendly. $50. Let's go over the differences between the two. I jotted a couple notes down, but I actually just wanted to screenshot and read from the Sephora website because I feel like that would be the most accurate. Velvet Veil, which is the mattifying. So the highlights on Sephora's website says radiant finish, which I was actually a little surprised. Good for dullness, uneven texture, and it says it's hydrating. It's a 24-hour Dior foundation primer that delivers a natural matte, shine-free makeup finish. Visibly smooth skin and blurs pores and fine lines. So that is how this one is described. Now the Glow Veil is described as having a radiant finish, no surprise. What is surprising that on Sephora's website, it says that it's best for oily skin. It doesn't say all skin types, it just says best for oily skin. I would probably assume this would be also great for dry skin types. It says it's hydrating, it says it's good for pores, and it's also good for dullness and uneven texture. A radiant foundation primer that delivers up to 24 hours of hydration, enhances makeup, and leaves skin looking luminous. Okay, all right, you guys, so let me kind of just put my hair back. I washed it today and dried it, so it's always a little extra on the days that I blow dry it. All right, so what do we decide? We're gonna do the Velvet Veil on the right side. I'm really excited about both of these primers. I'm a big fan of Dior primers. I love their face and body primer. It's a really hydrating, plumping primer. Okay, so this is what the Velvet Veil texture looks like. Okay, oh nice. So it actually feels like a lightweight lotion to me. It doesn't have like that silicone-y texture or feel that more matte or blur pouring primers have. This actually feels like a lotion. Ooh, that feels really nice. It's very thin. I'm gonna apply a little bit on my forehead because I used everything that I pumped out onto my cheeks. It has a slight tint to it, but when it goes on the skin and you blend it out, it's actually pretty translucent. It definitely feels very smooth on the skin. I can feel a very smooth, yes, definitely feel a very smooth slip to the skin. Okay, I definitely do notice that the pores, oh, I just got some in my hair, my pores, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this on camera, but my pores are less noticeable and more blurred already, like immediately, than the left side. So let's go in with the Glow Veil. I do want to call out that when you look at these two products in the bottle, the Velvet Veil appears to have a tint, which I did mention when I applied it, and the Glow Veil is more of a pearlescent product. It doesn't have a skin tint to it. So this is the consistency and texture of the Glow Veil. It seems to be a little thinner in consistency. It feels very similar to the Glow Veil in the sense that it's like a lightweight lotion. Ooh, this feels nice. This feels like a skincare product. Both have a skincare product feel, but this actually feels more hydrating for sure. Ooh, it feels really good. Okay, immediately I see a radiance and a glow here that I did not see from the Velvet Veil, which, you know, is the purpose, so not surprised there. Yes, this feels much more hydrating. It also doesn't have a silicone-y feel to it. It feels much more like a skincare product than a primer. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, that's nice. And I also noticed my pores looking smoother. I wasn't sure how it was gonna blur my pores, if it was gonna have that same instant effect that the Velvet Veil does, but it definitely does. Okay, so now that the primers have both been sitting on my skin for about a minute at least, when I compare the two, they look very similar in terms of how smooth the skin looks and texture, but I will say I definitely see more of a glow from the Glow Veil than the Velvet Veil. But let's see how these actually look under makeup. So the foundation that I'm going to use today is the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin. I was thinking of a foundation that didn't really lean too much either way, like nothing that's really radiant or luminous and nothing that's very matte either. And this one is the one that I went with. This really does have like a skin-like finish to it because I do feel that if I went with a matte foundation, it would kind of skew the results a little bit. So I wanted to go with something more skin-like. So I just applied a little bit on my hand. By the way, I am the shade 8N in this foundation, and I'm going to use my BK Beauty 101 brush to apply this. I have my little travel size here, and we'll start first on the left side. This is where the Velvet Veil is. This is such a pretty foundation. You know, because of what I do, I'm always trying new products, and sometimes I buy a new product because I know it's a hyped up product and people want to know my thoughts on it, and I'll use it, but then I'll quickly move on to like the next thing. And sometimes really great products like this one don't really get the full attention that they should just because I'm kind of trying new things. But this is really, really beautiful. It's very, very natural looking. Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna do one light layer. I'm gonna go to the other side and apply it over the Velvet Veil side. For concealer, I'm using the Milk Makeup Concealer, and I am the shade 11C in this. This is another product that I really enjoy, and I just reorganized my beauty room and kind of like, you know, what happens is I get products, I love them, and they stay on the top shelf, and then other things get filed away into drawers. This one, for some reason, got filed away, but when I was organizing my makeup room the other week, I pulled it out, and I was like, I really like this. I put it back on the top shelf, and I've been enjoying it again. I'm gonna go in and blend this with the Angie Hot and Flashy A506 concealer brush. By the way, you guys, I forgot to mention this when I was applying the foundation, but our 101 foundation brush was recently restocked. We were out of stock of that for a little while, but it is now available on bkbeauty.com. So if you're waiting for that, it's now available. And the one I used was a travel size, but it's essentially the same. The 101 has a longer handle. Okay, so now that I have foundation and concealer applied, I want to give you guys a quick comparison of the sides. If I really see a difference at this point, I've got this magnified mirror on. It's actually a little difficult for me to look at. So let's just pull up my I really don't see a difference between either of the two right now, to be completely honest. I actually see a little bit of a luminosity and glow on the side where I had the Velvet Veil, which is the more mattifying primer. And I see about the same amount of glow on the left side with the Glow Veil. They both look beautiful. As far as texture and smoothness to the skin, there's really no difference that I see on either side. And we're gonna go ahead and set everything with a little bit of powder. I will do a check-in at the end of the day today to let you know if one were better than the other, but at this point, I really can't tell a difference, you guys. Okay, before we go on in powder, I do wanna mention that the primer is really gonna vary depending on your skin type. Right now, my skin is pretty dry, and we are experiencing really, really cold temperatures here in Austin, so the climate is even drier. It's like been under 30 degrees the last couple of days, so keep that in mind. The more that I look at this, it's very odd because the velvet side, the one that's supposed to be more matte, actually looks like it has a little bit more glow to me than the left side. I don't know. I mean, it's very slight, but anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna go ahead and powder everything, and we're gonna move on to the rest of my makeup. So I'm gonna go and set underneath the eyes with a Pat McGrath powder. This powder is specifically designed to set underneath the eyes, which I love because it's such a soft focus powder. I've used the translucent in the past, but I don't think I've used the this shade, which is the yellow. It's the slightest, lightest yellow though, so it's not like in your face yellow. It's really, really soft. Really what this is gonna do is set the concealer, keep a soft focus underneath the eye so it doesn't magnify texture or look really dry. And the light yellow is going to give a little bit of brightness to the skin. That is absolutely beautiful. I love this. You can certainly use this, and I'm actually going to use it to set the center of my face. To bronze the skin, I'm using the Chanel Cream Bronzer in the BK Beauty 106 brush. I like this brush for this particular product because it's really dense. This is a really light product on me, like it applies very light and sheer. So this brush is going to do the best job of really picking up a lot of product. I'm ready for spring to be here, you guys. We have had a pretty mild winter in Austin up until this last week. Like in January, I want to say it was like in the 60s, some days even 70s, which was so wild. We did get a nice chilly Christmas, which was good, but these last couple of days, it's winter here. And in a couple of days, I think I saw it's going to be in the upper 60s, which is crazy. That's like Texas for you. One day it'll be, you know, freezing temperatures, and then the next it'll be literally 70 degrees. I love this bronzer. It's just such a soft, beautiful bronze shade. Very, very natural. You can really build it to get the level of intensity that you want, but overall you're going to get a very natural, soft, bronzy look. Sorry I'm playing with my hair so much. It's just like, it's really, I'm trying to let my hair grow out long. Usually this is when I will cut it. Actually, I would have cut it like when it was right here, but for some reason I feel like I want to just kind of try and go long and see, you know, how long I can get it and still enjoy it. So that's where I'm at right now. Okay, that's beautiful. So I popped on a little bit of brow makeup. I'm gonna go and start the eyes. NARS sent this to me. This is the Orgasm Rising eyeshadow palette. I believe this is a new launch. These are what the shades look like. They're absolutely stunning and beautiful. I really love NARS formula of eyeshadows. I find that they are just very, very beautiful, easy to blend. They're just the right amount of pigment. They're typically not too overly pigmented, but they definitely pick up and apply enough pigment. They're just very beautiful formulas for mature eyes or drier eyelids or textured eyelids, both the mattes and the shimmers. So I was excited to receive this in PR. They sent over their holiday collection probably back in October, and I didn't get around to using it until recently. And of course now it's hard to find. So I was like, I'm gonna jump on using this when I receive it so that you guys can still find it. Okay, so first I'm gonna go in and apply a little bit of primer. Today I'm using the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre, and I'm just using my finger to blend this into the eyelid. I'm gonna take it up to the brow. When you apply an eye primer, you wanna make sure that you apply it nice and evenly and sheerly. If you have too much product in one area and then it just abruptly like stops, it doesn't seamlessly blend out, what will happen is when you go in with shadow, shadow will really stick to that area and you'll have a difficult time blending it out. So pretty. Another tip you can do if you find that it's difficult to blend shadow, if you use like a cream primer, is use a little bit of your translucent loose powder to set the eye first. You certainly can do that with the Pat McGrath powder that I used on the under eye. In fact, let's go ahead and do a little bit of that now. I'm going with the BK Beauty 108 brush, just a very soft layer. I'm not packing it on, I'm really just using it to kind of set that product. This isn't a step that you have to do or you always have to do, but I did want to show that and teach that. Okay, so let's go into this palette. Look at how beautiful these shades are. They are absolutely beautiful. So soft, neutral. I like that there's a little bit of rose and pink in there. I love that there's a mixture of shimmer and mattes, and then you also have these shades here which look very highly reflective, but they're typically lighter in pigment. So they're just like the most beautiful topper shades. Okay, let's go in. Let me grab some eye brushes to get started. So first I'm gonna go and start in my crease and build out the definition. I typically like to start my eye makeup there. So I'm gonna go into this shade right here. It's a matte, soft, warm, kind of hazelnut color, and I'm using my BK Beauty 202, and I'm just going to blend that into the crease. So I layered that up a bit so that I had a good amount of color there. It's very warm. It kind of reminds me of like a peanut buttery shade. So pretty. It complements green or blue eyes. That's gorgeous. Okay, next I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna add a little more definition on the outer corner. And let's go in with this shade right here. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. This has a little bit of shimmer to it. Let me show you what it looks like on the finger. Really pretty. Has a little bit of a sheen to it. Not necessarily shimmery or foiled, but has a little bit of a sheen. So we're gonna add this right in the outer corner just to add a tiny bit of depth there. And I'm gonna take it down to meet me at my lash line. Next, I'm gonna take the BK Beauty 209 brush and I'm gonna go into this shade right here. It's the softest shimmery shade in the palette. And I'm going to apply that right here in my inner corner and kind of softly sweep it in to meet the center of my lid. I'm not gonna take it all the way over to the center of my lid, but I'm gonna kind of meet that little segment of my eyelid. So beautiful. Do you guys remember the shade Rice Paper from MAC? I'm sure they still have it, but that was like the most beautiful, soft, golden shade. This kind of reminds me of Rice Paper, but even more refined. The shimmer is even more refined. Oh, so gorgeous. I love that. Okay, next we're gonna go in, we're gonna add a little, I wanna add a little pink and lightness to the lid. So when I'm looking at this palette, I see two shades that kind of stand out to me. So let's take a look and see what these both look like. So I've got these options. I think I'm gonna go with this lightest shade here. I'm gonna go, and I'm actually gonna use my finger since I've got so much of it. And I'm just gonna apply, oh wow. Okay, when that gets on the lid, it gets really pink, which is pretty. I'm gonna go and I'm going to take my little 209 brush and I'm just gonna pack that right in the center of the lid. So I'm basically using this to transition from this deeper shade in the outer corner to that light golden in the inner corner. Let me use my finger on the other side. So whenever you use your finger, it's definitely going to apply more product. So if you're working with like a light shimmery shade and you want a little bit more pigment, go in with your finger first and then you can use your brush to blend it out. So that's pretty. I want to add a little extra. So I'm going to go in with the other shade. It's more of a coppery pink, very shimmer, and I'm going to take a small crease brush. I'm going to load it up and I'm just going to use this to press onto the lid. Next, we're going to go in and line our eyes, and I have the Too Faced Killer Eyeliner. This is the shade Killer Chocolate. I want to show you guys this shade. It's not just a brown. It almost has like this rich burgundy feel to it. It's super creamy. I swatched this in hand, but I don't think I've used this yet. I'm going to line the entire lash line all the way from the inner corner. I'm going to work my way out. I'm going to go in with the BK Beauty 210 brush, grab that first shade we put in the crease, and we're gonna just soften that liner a bit. I always like to do this. If I'm using a kohl pencil on my lower lash line, I always like to take a shadow to soften it. And the reason I like to do that is because, you know, a kohl pencil is creamy and waxy. So just like you set your foundation with a translucent powder or, you know, a pigmented powder, you're doing the same thing with a shadow. You're setting that product so it's less likely to smudge or move throughout the day. It also just gives a softer look. I'm gonna take a cream shadow stick and we're gonna line the inner rim of my eye just to brighten it up. This is the Sigma Beauty eyeshadow base primer in the shade Radiance. So it's a brighter shade and it also has a little bit of a shimmer to it. So I'm gonna go in and apply the Risa Does Makeup Day Club lashes. These are actually ones that I wore the other day, so I just put them back into the case like this. I'm gonna remove them and I'm just basically gonna peel off the glue from my wear last time and reapply them. So I wanna show you guys what they look like when you reuse them. So this is what the band looks like after one use. So I'm just basically gonna use my fingernail and peel off any excess glue. I don't apply a lot of glue, so I don't have a whole lot to remove here. I'm gonna go in with my Duo and I'm gonna paint a thin little layer on the lash strip, just at the base of the lash strip. So next we're gonna go in with the blush and I'm gonna use the NARS new quad palette. I'm just gonna call it a quad palette. Its actual official name is Orgasm Foreplay. And it has 4 shades, the names of these. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the actual shade Orgasm here, which is this lighter shade. I'm gonna use a big fluffy brush, the BK Beauty 104 brush, because it's large and fluffy. The hairs are really long and loose, so it's gonna apply product in a very soft sheer manner versus something smaller and a little dense. Because this has so much shimmer in it, I really wanna be careful not to apply too much of this product. So I'm just gonna take my time and kind of softly sweep and build it. Okay, it's really pretty. It does have some shimmer and it does have some pretty like strong gold flecks to it, but the actual pigment is pretty light. Let me go in with the Angie A507 brush. This is a little bit more dense. It's actually a blush brush. I'm gonna use this and see how this applies it. Oh, okay, so you guys, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. This is really nice. It applies a really light, sheer amount of product. It's not as shimmery or as pigmented as I thought it would be. That's why I went in with a looser brush because I didn't want to apply too much shimmer on my cheeks, but even using a more dense blush brush, it applies it really pretty. Now it is shimmery, so if you're not a fan of this much shimmer on the cheeks, you probably won't want to go for this. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of mascara to my lashes. I want to keep the lashes really light where I have false lashes, so I'm only going to apply a little bit. This is just to blend my natural lashes in, but on the lower lashes, I definitely need to go and add some length because it looks a little odd to have really long false lashes and no lower lashes. So for lips, I'm gonna dive into this little gift set I bought over the holidays that I held on to because I was thinking of like who I was gonna gift it to, and I'm gifting it to myself. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I don't even know that they still have this because this was a holiday set, but they certainly will have the full-size products, I'm sure, of everything in this set. So I'm gonna line my lips with Pillow Talk lip liner. This is a nice shade, but honestly, I love the medium shade, the Pillow Talk Medium. That's my favorite. Next, I'm gonna go in with this. This is like a kind of like a lipstick and balm product in one, and it's the shade Pillow Talk. I don't own this. I love these products though. They're so nice on the lips. They have the most beautiful shine, but they're not like a gloss. They're like a super glossy lip balm. So beautiful. They just give the lips a very juicy look and they feel amazing. So this is the finished look. I love the way everything came out. I still don't really see a difference between the two sides where I use the Velvet Veil Primer and then the Velvet Glow Primer. It is 12:11 right now. I'll check in with you guys by the end of the day, maybe 6 or 7 p.m. and we'll see if one wore better than the other. But at this point, I really cannot tell a difference. The main difference was in the texture of the two and then the fact that the Velvet had a little bit more of a tint to it. It really didn't translate on my skin as a tint. On my skin, it kind of went to be pretty translucent, but the feel was very different. The glow definitely felt more hydrating to the skin. Once I have makeup on though, I don't really see a difference. So I will check in with you guys in a few hours and we'll see if we can really see a difference between these two primers. All right, friends, welcome back. It is 6 p.m. almost exactly. I've had the foundation on for about 6 hours. I never powdered the entire face and I haven't touched up all day long. So what you guys are seeing now is 6 hours of this makeup being on my skin without ever really setting with a powder ever. If you'll remember, the only powder that I used was the Pat McGrath powder and I pretty much kept it underneath the eyes and down the center of the face. Now you'll also remember that I used a pretty shiny blush on the cheeks, a shimmery blush. I used that NARS blush. So I am seeing a lot of shine on the cheeks on both sides. When I look in the mirror to compare the different side, either side of my face and how the foundation wears, because what we're really testing for here is which primer had a prettier finish after, being on the skin all day. I don't really see a whole lot of difference between the two, you guys. I really, really don't. I did notice a little bit of separation and a little bit of patchiness on the right side around my nose. I'm gonna get in a little closer so hopefully you guys can see. Like right around here, the foundation is kind of clinging to little dry patches. It looks a little patchy. It's nothing that I would notice if I were looking in the mirror, at about a 1 or 2 foot distance of myself. But when I really get in close, I do see that this is not really wearing well. Where on this side, it looks much, much better. This is the side that I had the mattifying primer, the Velvet Veil. This was this side. So if I'm really comparing the two today and how my skin is today, I'm gonna say that I really prefer the way the glow looks. But that's not to say that this one performed poorly. Just between the two, I am noticing that this kind of wore a little bit better than this side. And really, again, it's just in this area where I tend to have a dry patch. When you are looking anywhere else on this segment of the face, they kind of look identical. I don't really see a big difference. So I would say that they're pretty similar in terms of how they look throughout the day. If you have really oily skin, then you might really love the Velvet Veil over the Glow. If you have dry patches or drier skin, without a doubt, go with the Glow Veil. Overall, I think they're both pretty good primers. I am gonna go ahead and just touch up the skin just to see how everything looks once I do add a little powder. I'm using the Pat McGrath Sublime Perfection Loose Powder, and I'm just gonna slightly bounce it onto the face. That's nice. They both touched up really nice. They both look really good. I think if I had to pick which one looked better though, I would say the Glow Veil looks better on me today. Keep in mind, you guys, this is gonna be very, very personal. It's really gonna depend on the current state of your skin when you test these products. And I really don't wanna give off the impression that this one is better than the Velvet Veil. It's just today on my skin, this one performed better for me. I think they're both pretty good primers though. I really like the consistency of them both. They feel very nice on the skin. They both feel like a skincare product. They don't feel like a silicone primer. They both did blur the skin pretty instantly, and they're both very lightweight. So I would recommend either of them, but those are my thoughts and comparisons between the two. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you think you're gonna pick these up, let me know down below. If you've already picked these up and you tried them and you have an opinion, share with us. And last but not least, if you aren't gonna pick these up, but you have a favorite primer, what's your favorite blurring primer? Let us know down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.